effort and time estimation, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be precise. Does your team have that understanding? Do you all understand? Don't expect, oh, actually, the entire world is missing some spreadsheet or template around exactly how you list out the tasks and how you do scoping and how you do interdependency mapping and all of that. And voila, this will no longer be a problem. You might have a PhD from MIT in math or whatever else. No, you are not going to be able to create a template or a spreadsheet that solves the scoping issue. It is impossible. It is impossible. Okay. So that is the reality. The question is everybody on the same page on that reality? And that is where there is this shared delusion. The PMs know this. The engineering manager, of course, knows this. The designers, sometimes if they're early career, they might not know this. But whatever the case may be, we all try to portray that, yeah, of course, these dates are set in stone. And of course, this estimate needs to be bulletproof, et cetera, et cetera. If you're smart enough to get hired by a good company, you know that there is never a correct answer. So it's about just clarifying that. It's about just being clear. Yeah, there's never a correct answer. And these estimates are just that. They're estimates. Usually the engineering manager is trying to educate everyone on this, but the PMs don't want to listen. Why? I'm not blaming PMs. The PMs don't want to listen because they're getting pushed on the dates by the CEO. So they need to provide something. The right approach to this type of situation is this is a situation of managing expectations. So how do you do that? The best tool I've found, a tool I learned at Stripe, I didn't come up with it, somebody else did, but I thought this was brilliant. Basically, it's the idea of having two dates. Let's just talk about estimation in terms of dates. Most teams have one date, which is this is the launch date. At Stripe, at some point after we had a lot of problems with all this estimation and setting expectations for sales and for the go-to-market teams who were like, wait, why isn't here? We prepared all this shit and now the product is late. Oh, let's do a postmortem and all that nonsense bullshit, waste of time. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have two different dates. One date is called a committed date, and it was in our launch cal. The other date, you can call it the target date. So target date and committed date. Target date is internal to your team. It's part of the inner world. Now you can publish it if you want, but it's your internal target date. That date, keep it fairly aggressive. The insight here is that the committed date can be the more conservative date. So anytime you have an estimation, usually your engineering counterpart will say, well, it can take between 4 and 6 months or 4 and 6 weeks. So your target is likely 4 weeks, but your committed is maybe 7 weeks. You add a buffer to it. And you tell everybody that the target is our internal target. And nobody gets blamed, nobody gets fired, nobody gets demoted, nobody gets a bad rating because you did not hit the target date. The point, though, is that the committed date is what the go-to-market teams go by, is what the sales team goes by. And if they're going to communicate to the customer, then maybe there's a process to do so. You don't just get to communicate even the committed date externally. But if there is a necessity to do it, then there's a process to do so. That is a tool that I've actually found to be very useful. The reason it works in practice is because it accepts that this is an imprecise science. Instead of banging your head against the wall is not going to get damaged. It's only your head, right? So that's what I would recommend.